My fiancée tried to make me send my two young children to boarding school so her freeloading brother could take their rooms. I broke off the engagement and kicked them both out. Her brother later stole all her money and vanished. My name is Mark, 42 men, and I've been a widower for 4 years now. I have two amazing kids, Henry, 10 men, and Megan, 8 female. Their mom, my late wife, passed away in a tragic accident, and since then, it's just been the three of us, holding it together. We share our routines, our traditions, our little world. About 2 years ago, I met Lauren, 38 female. At first, she was like a breath of fresh air, kind, understanding about my situation, seemingly good with the kids. She brought Henry and Megan little gifts, always made an effort to ask about their school days, even helped with homework occasionally. Naturally, the kids were a little wary, but Lauren made herself seem part of our lives. After about 1.5 years of dating, I proposed to Lauren. The wedding was set for 3 months from then. The kids weren't overly excited about the idea of having a stepmom, but at least they weren't hostile. Things seemed pretty smooth, except for one nagging red flag: Lauren's brother Kevin, 35 man. Kevin is your classic deadbeat, never held a job more than a few months, always down on his luck, always crashing on someone's couch. Lauren constantly bailed him out and made excuses for him, but I thought, that's her business, as long as she keeps it out of our daily life. But as soon as we got engaged, talk of Kevin became more and more frequent. Kevin's lease is up soon. Kevin can't find another place to live. Kevin just needs a stable environment to get back on his feet. I kept things neutral, always sympathetic but non-committal. The thing is, my house has only 3 bedrooms, mine, Henry's, and Megan's. There's simply no space for another adult. About 6 months ago, Lauren directly suggested that Kevin stay with us, just for a little while. I firmly said no. My kid's stability comes first, and I wasn't going to compromise that. She was visibly frustrated but dropped it. A couple months later, Lauren pushed again, this time more adamant. She argued that our house was big enough, not a mansion but fine, and said Kevin would be no trouble at all. I asked where he would sleep. She just kind of gestured vaguely around. Again, a hard no. My children's space and routine weren't up for negotiation, especially not for someone with Kevin's track record. That led to our first big fight. Lauren accused me of not supporting her family. I made it clear my own children would always come first, no exceptions. Things got tense after that, even as wedding planning kept rolling. She made snide remarks here and there. Then, about 2 months ago, she took things up a notch by suggesting we convert the kids' playroom into a bedroom for Kevin. I was totally floored. I asked if she was really serious. She was. She argued Kevin needed this chance. I held my ground and told her that my kids needed their playroom much more than her brother needed a place to crash. That started an endless string of arguments. Lauren kept painting me as selfish and said things like, "Family is supposed to help each other, Mark." And I'd reply, "My #1 family is my kids, Lauren. You're supposed to be joining our family, not demanding that I sacrifice it for your brother." Then, a month ago, she came up with the solution. That brought the whole thing to a head. She sat me down and told me, very seriously, that she had figured it all out. We could send Henry and Megan to boarding school. She pitched it like it was a fantastic idea. Elite education, independence, and of course, their rooms would open up. Kevin could have one, the other could be used as her office or guest room. Lauren beamed at me like she'd solved the world's biggest puzzle. I just stared at her. I asked if she even realized what she was saying. Sending my children, who'd just lost their mom, who were only now starting to settle back into life, to live somewhere else, just so her brother could take their rooms. She doubled down, saying it was perfectly reasonable because Kevin was family and deserved support. She even tried to spin it as a benefit for us, saying having the kids away would give us more time to bond as a couple, making our marriage stronger. That was the breaking point. I told her calmly at first that there was no universe in which I would send my children away from their home. They'd been through enough. This home was their safe place. She lost her temper then, called me obstructive, and declared that if Kevin was homeless, it would be on my conscience. Then came the ultimatum. Lauren told me I had to choose our future together and helping her brother or clinging to the idea that the kids must stay under my roof. She said if I wasn't willing to compromise, there couldn't be a wedding. She finished by saying she couldn't marry someone so selfish. That was it. The woman I thought I was going to marry was gone. All I saw was someone perfectly willing to cast aside my children's welfare for her irresponsible brother. I stood up and told her, "You're right. There can't be a wedding." Her face went from angry to stunned. "What are you saying?" "I'm saying it's over," I told her. "The wedding's off. I want you out of my house, tonight, and your brother too." Kevin had apparently been lurking nearby, maybe waiting to move in. "Hey man, that's not cool," he said from the kitchen doorway. "Lauren's just trying to help me out." He tried to approach me, but I stepped right up to him. I told him, "You think it's cool to kick kids out of their homes so you can sleep in their beds? Get your stuff and get out." Lauren started to cry, pleading at first, then getting angry, calling me cold and dishonest. Kevin tried to argue, but I told them both if they weren't out in 10 minutes, I'd call the police. That finally got him moving. It took about an hour of Lauren crying and Kevin muttering passive-aggressive comments, but eventually they left. I changed all the locks that night, immediately called a locksmith, and started canceling all the wedding plans the next day. Some deposits were lost, but it was a small price for peace of mind. Telling the kids was tough. I kept it simple. Lauren wasn't going to live with us anymore, and the wedding was off. Megan asked if that meant she kept the playroom, and I told her yes. The kids were more relieved than upset, honestly. Lauren tried to contact me for a few days. Calls, texts, pleading voicemails. I didn't respond. After about a week, she stopped. About 2 months later, a mutual acquaintance, let's call her Kristen, called me and told me that Lauren was in bad shape. After leaving my house, Lauren had scraped together enough money to get a small apartment for herself and Kevin. She used up all her savings, maybe cashed out some family bonds. About a week ago, Kevin vanished, took every penny Lauren had left, emptied her bank account, stole her credit cards, even pawned some of her sentimental jewelry. He left a note apologizing and saying he needed a fresh start. Lauren was devastated, broke, on the edge of eviction, barely functioning. Kristen didn't directly ask me for help, but her implications were obvious. Lauren lost everything. And, honestly, I felt nothing, no urge to reach out, no sympathy. If anything, I felt validated. Lauren had always put her brother first, no matter the cost, and he'd done exactly what everyone could see coming. Am I a jerk for not caring at all? Because I truly, deeply don't. Edit, Update 1. Hey folks, it's Mark again. 3 weeks since my original post. Seriously, the outpouring of replies and understanding blew me away. I expected flaming for being cold, but most of you got where I was coming from. Reading your responses helped a lot. Some of you asked about how my late wife passed. I don't talk about it much, but it's central to why my kids' well-being is non-negotiable. 4 years ago, she was in a fatal car crash. A drunk driver hit her head-on. She was gone in an instant. Henry and Megan were very young. Our entire world fractured. Seeing my children try to grasp why their mom wasn't coming back and dealing with my own grief at the same time left scars that will never fade. Their sense of safety, their home, it's everything to me. A lot of people wanted to know if there'd been previous incidents with Kevin before the proposed move-in. Yes, though he hadn't directly impacted me or my kids since I kept strict boundaries. But Lauren had told me stories. Kevin being fired for stealing from work, crashing someone else's car, defaulting on money borrowed from relatives. The list went on. Lauren always made excuses, said he was misunderstood or that his rough childhood, which frankly wasn't worse than hers, was to blame. I now realize she was hoping to make me Kevin's new safety net. Huge mistake. Financially, Lauren wasn't poor. She worked a decent job, wasn't wealthy, but was comfortable enough. The money she spent on a new apartment for Kevin and for herself pretty much wiped out her savings, especially after he took what was left. Weddings are expensive, and yes, I lost some deposits to non-refundable clauses. But that's nothing compared to what a messy marriage or a divorce would have cost, emotionally and financially. A lot of people speculated on why Lauren enabled Kevin so much. Guilt? Loyalty? Fear of seeing her brother fail? Maybe she really bought into his tales of woe. Honestly, I'll never know the deep psychology. It was like she had a blind spot a mile wide when it came to her brother. She never saw him for what he was. People also asked if Kevin got physical with me that night. Not exactly. He puffed out his chest, said, "You can't just kick us out, Lauren's your fiancée," and tried to stand tall. I matched his stance, told him she was my fiancée, now she was someone who needed to leave my house. He backed down. All mouth. No bite. If I'd needed to force him out, I would have. Reading your comments made it clear to me. I made the right choice, for my children and for myself. A few people pointed out that Lauren's willingness to scramble our family structure for her own needs should have been all the warning I needed. That hit hard. She wanted a merger, not a blending. So after Kristen's call, I considered my options, but ultimately chose not to do anything. A few days later, she called again, much more direct, asked if I could help Lauren financially for old time's sake, maybe cover a month or two of her rent. I said simply, no, and explained. Lauren made her choices, put her brother ahead of my children, tried to make me send my kids away from their home so Kevin could move in. I don't forgive or forget that. Her predicament is a direct consequence of her actions. I told Kristen to stop updating me about Lauren's life. I wanted to move on, for my own sanity and my kids' sakes. After that, I blocked Lauren's number and social media. No more drama, a clean slate. My home is peaceful. The kids are settled. Henry's talking about summer camp. Megan's drawing pictures of the three of us, all smiling. Surprisingly, a few days ago, Lauren's mom called me. She wasn't angry, just resigned. Asked if I knew Kevin's whereabouts. I didn't. She sighed, admitted Kevin had a long history of this behavior, but never this bad. She didn't ask me for money, just needed to talk to someone who'd seen it up close. I kept things brief and polite and made it clear I wasn't involved anymore. She understood. So yeah, life goes on, and honestly, it's better now. Update 2. Hey all, Mark again, last update I think. It's been a little over a year since my original post, and about 11 months since the last update. The difference in my life is night and day. Henry is now 11, just finished 5th grade and did fantastic academically. Megan turned 9. She's become a budding gymnast with a schedule busier than mine. They're happy. Honestly, they barely mention Lauren anymore. If her name comes up, it's, oh right, Dad's friend who almost married you, and then they move on. No lasting trauma, no sadness, just closure. I know I handled this in the best possible way for them, and I don't regret a thing. As for me, I'm good. Focusing on work, the house, and the kids. Haven't dated, and I'm not in any rush. This whole Lauren saga made me a lot more careful and much less willing to overlook red flags. If I ever get serious again, she'll have to be someone truly extraordinary. Someone who sees that my kids come first, always. No negotiation. Now, for those wondering about Lauren and Kevin, only bits and pieces reached me, mostly before I blocked everyone and through a couple of accidental encounters. Kevin is still totally off the grid. He took Lauren's money and vanished. No one's heard from him in her family. Frankly, I hope I never see the guy again. Lauren's situation, from the few things I caught, is pretty bleak. After Kevin stole from her, she was evicted and spent some time staying with her parents, but it didn't last. Her relationship with her parents is rocky, partly because of Kevin and partly because she blames them for how he turned out, apparently. About 6 months ago, I was at a big hardware store in a neighboring town with Henry, picking up supplies for a treehouse project we were starting together. I saw Lauren working there as a cashier. She looked tired, worn out, a shadow of the person she used to be. She saw me but didn't try to speak. I just nodded, switched lines, and left. Later, a distant acquaintance caught me at a community event and filled me in. Lauren's living in a tiny, rundown apartment, barely scraping by. She's lost touch with most of her old friends, keeps asking for help or just radiates bitterness. The job at the store? Gone. After Kevin pulled his stunt, she became unreliable, showing up late or not at all, and got fired. I'm told the cashier gig is the only thing she manages right now. Honestly, seeing someone down so hard isn't gratifying, but it's hard to pity her. She made her choices. One last twist. About 2 months ago, I got a letter from a law office. Nothing nasty, just an inquiry regarding Lauren's bankruptcy filing, asking if she had any claim to property at my address or any joint accounts. I quickly replied, no, she has no ties here. We severed everything after the engagement ended. End of story. That's truly it. My kids are happy and thriving. I made some painfully tough decisions and faced a fair bit of ugliness, but I have exactly 0 regrets about how I protected my family. Thank you to everyone who listened, offered thoughts, and helped me keep my perspective straight through all of this. I'm closing this chapter for good, looking forward to normal life, treehouse projects, movie nights, and just being a dad. Peace, Mark. That brings this story to a close. It's remarkable how sometimes the hardest choices are the ones that protect what matters most. This story goes to show that setting firm boundaries isn't cold-hearted. It's essential, especially when it comes to safeguarding your family. What do you think? Do you think Mark should have shown any sympathy or given Lauren a helping hand after all that happened? Or was he right to cut her out for good? Share your thoughts below.